Okay, over to you, Vanessa.
Awesome. So I wanted to do a bit of a brainstorm or open discussion. So it's going to be pretty informal about something that I loved at ProfitCon, which was the one-page marketing plan and scaling with scissors is what I call it. So simplifying, reviewing your offerings and all of that sort of jazz. So my first question to you guys is what was your takeaway from the session that we had with Alan around scaling with scissors? I will go first while you guys have a think. I've always been in the mindset of create something else, create something else, create something else. And I'm like, but I already have these 14 other things that I'm trying to promote that aren't working at the moment. And creating something else isn't going to fix the problem because if the problem is in the way that I'm delivering or doing it, I'm probably better off cutting the things that aren't working before I start adding something else. So my takeaway was simple is better. Simplify, simplify, simplify. Because then you can really hone in and concentrate on what is working.
Yeah. For me, my brain went, it's easier for clients if we essentially scaling with scissors is niching, right? So if we focus down on being really good at one thing, our clients will know us as that's our one thing that we're good at and will flock to us. But also from a systems and administration point of view in delivery, like if we're just doing one really good thing or a couple of really good things, then we don't need all of the tech and the infrastructure and the subscriptions for the million things that eat up a lot of profits and stuff like that. And then the team can go deep. Like you can be really, really good at one thing instead of being a generalist and being great at a million things. And I feel like I'm great at a million things, but my team are not built like me. And so they need to be good at one thing. So it helps training and alignment to everyone. So yeah, like for me, it wasn't just in the delivery or the products, it was across the whole business. Scaling with scissors is just going to be like the next step of what I need to work on because we've got a lot of shit going on.
Yep. Yeah, I also took it from a systems point of view as well. I was like, how can we make the most by doing the least amount? Because that saves the team's time as well. If they're not, doing, if they can reduce 30 tasks into 20, that probably saves half an hour on each client per day, which also means you can almost fit another client in. So yeah, I love that.
I guess for me, my main takeaway from this session with Alan wasn't really around the scaling with scissors, so I am sidetracking, but it was around my above the fold. So my above the fold, especially like, so we checked out my Facebook page, and yeah, it's pretty and it says what nourish means and blah blah blah, but it doesn't say the rural money coach and bookkeeper. Like it doesn't tell people what it says. So that, I guess what I've just said, that does actually go back to the simplifying and the scissors, cutting out the wah wah and like making it plain to people.
Yep. Craig's review of my website was very insightful.
Oh, it's fun, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah. No, I guess, yeah, my takeaways were, I love the simplicity of the language, which is what I find people like Alan and Mike and people that get to that level is they've done so much work on crafting their stuff is that they do make things really simple and easy and use a couple of keywords again that just go, I get it, which is why you're now talking about it, why we're having a whole discussion around the idea of scaling which is so simple to follow. So again, it's just a nice little reminder of that. And for me, it was quite validating. I've had that idea stuck in my head for a long time when I believe I read Simon Sinek, Start With Why, and he talked about the Apple story of Steve Jobs coming back to Apple. When he came back to Apple and they'd floundered and they'd done or whatever, they'd grown to 30 products. And he walked back in and went, we're doing 4 products. And that's literally what he did. That's why Apple is what it is today. And so I've always been aware of and conscious of it. So I think that idea of, again, what I've been doing the last little bit, I went back to one offer. So I've sort of done a bunch of it, but it was that reinforcing what you've talked about here is the wider picture that I've got myself down to a fine tune, but I need to expand a bit with what between sending out an email for a new offer, but it's still going super deep on that same area. It's more of an extension to it, but there is potential, and that's where I'm trying to be conscious of the stuff that happens around of it to go. So even as I'm thinking, it's nearly this idea of trim. I need to come up with better wording, but trim as you go kind of idea, because I've kind of done the scissors, and now it's just trimming the edges of the hedges kind of idea to make sure that they can blow back out. So again, I like the use of the analogies and that approach. I think just having it front of mind is super super useful. And my football field up here is nearly like, okay, how do we mow that lawn to keep it in there? So there we go. I've just come up with something right then. So that's super useful to go, oh, we can change the levels to get the nice squares that you see on TV and all the lines. So we can do that stuff. As long as it stays within that field. So yeah, it's cool.
Matt, are you able to talk?
I can. Yep. I'm at home today, so I can jump in. Specifically, what Alan said about scale with scissors to me was basically just cut out all the noise, cut out all the extra stuff, stop focusing on all the stuff that doesn't get you where you want to go, and cut it all back. And then that will allow you to focus on what you need to focus on. Yeah, essentially.
I love the fact that we all had a different take on it, but it's still all very relevant to the whole scissor analogy that he said and sort of stuck with me. So these are all just like general reflection and insight questions. So which part of our/your current business could we cut and focus on the most profitable niche? Do you clearly see a part of your business that's more profitable than another? I know I do, but I keep the other one there because that's my passion. So it's sort of what lights me up. So I have to keep doing it because that's why I get out of bed every day, although the other parts need to be done. Otherwise, we have no money and we have no business. So it's, for me, has felt like a catch-22 for something I know I probably should cut financially. But then for my own inner person, I have to keep it there. So it's been a battle in my head around cutting it or keeping it.
Would you be open to giving us more detail?
Yeah, so it was the group coaching course that I did. So it was what I used to teach in one-on-one, but I worked with Laura ages ago on converting that into a 12-month course that was sort of presented monthly with weekly homework in the 3 weeks in between. Now, I've only sold one of them, which I ended up doing one-on-one anyway. And I don't know whether or not it's the best use of resources to keep on advertising that, or whether or not I quash it and focus on the things that I know people want, like profit first profit or profit plan. Those things that people are signing up to instantly. As soon as we advertise it, we get 2 to 4 people signing up. Even though with those two things, I feel like I'm losing a little bit of the human element that I love and feed off.
So if you love it, have you You obviously haven't advertised it enough, or the offer hasn't been on point.
Yeah, I think it was a mix of both. One, I didn't advertise it too much after the first round because I'm like, oh, we didn't get much bite on that. And I loved the program so much, I didn't want it to fail. So I'm like, if I don't advertise it, it can't fail. In my head, like that's what was going around for me. I'm like, I'm better off saying that haven't sold it yet or I haven't released it yet, as opposed to saying, I totally fucked that up.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because I think what I'm doing right now is the avenue that I've taken by cut everything right back to what's working. But and that's I guess my 3 month program, blah 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 blah. But it's now the new offer is the 12 month program that I said that I was never going to do. He's no interest. I don't want to work with people for that long, blah blah blah, all the rest of it. But it was the idea of going, how do I extend the offer to for the people that want to commit for that long, but then design it so that I don't have to do what I used to think a 12-month program actually entailed. And so, how can I have the easier sell that, hey, I can sell them every time somebody ends up jumping on a call to do probably first kickstart, financial brain care kickstart. But then it became, now it's like, well, we're going to do that anyway. And here's how much it's going to cost. But you can bundle it up with this if you're happy to work for 12 months over this, but here's what you're going to get on top. And the economics are so much better for both of us. I won't say that, but it's actually better for them financially and value and blah, 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 all those things, which then rolls in what they're already getting there, but that gets extended out and I can bundle it, which comes back to like creating the offer. And I've found that super useful, which, you know, I've talked about that. Once I got really comfortable around the core offer that I know works, that gets the feedback and the like, and then it's moving forward, it's literally test 100 calls, 100 calls where I offer the two and see how many people we end up with both. And that's the element. And the reason I've actually done it is for the community part. My conversation, the other thing, how do I get the human element? Because the software doesn't give me the human element as much. It gives me a short part of that, which I love, and I can still stay in touch with people. But how do I build a community? Which comes back to my football field. I could do the book club and the money mind growth as a part of that individually, but the light bulb as I was preparing the presentation was just wrap them up under one banner. Again, simplify it rather than throwing that over here and that over there. They just come in under one banner. And these my 4 components that go into that longer program. So for me, it just felt good to be able to go, how do I seamlessly extend the part so that I've joined the dots now between all the things that I think are cool that I want to do in isolation anyway. But how can I join them together for somebody else to go, oh, I don't mind that. And the reality is the way it's now structured, because it's very modular, is somebody go, oh, Craig, I don't want to do that, or I want to do the book club. You can do the book club. You're going to pay exponentially more from a value perspective, but if that's all you want to do, that plus the software, do that. It's the way I've got a community thing, or they can pick and choose, but it can be better value if they do the whole lot. The more people I have, then the more chance I get people to turn up to the group stuff that I want. And it's my thing I've struggled from day one when I did all the coaching year. Create a group program, create a group program. We hear it non-stop in the coaching space. But for financial stuff, it's really hard to sell the idea of a group thing. So what's the thing that can work on the edge of that? Still touch it off, but people still get a chance for their one-on-one if we want to bundle that in or not. So again, that's been my experience of then trying to join dots, I guess, between those different things, but trying to contain it and not let it get too big. So yeah, there's my approach and reflection.
Thank you.
I think going back to what you were saying, Vanessa, about the offering that you love that you haven't really put back there. What came to mind for me there was the five ones, and you already covered it, but I know when I was saying to Katie about me promoting even lead magnets or whatever, she's like, how many times have you put it out there? You know, have you put it on your social media every day? Have you put it, you know, in your newsletter? Are you just like constantly doing the ask? Yeah, and if we don't do the ask, we don't get the results.
Very true.
My thing that I'd love to get rid of, like every bookkeeper, is the bookkeeping. But that's what keeps that's what keeps my business going. So, you know, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, and that's very similar to mine. I don't love the compliance work, but I love the team that do the compliance work. And unfortunately, the team that do the compliance work comes with the compliance work.
What I think is interesting on the conversation of the cities, though, is that how do I cut out the amount of time or energy or mental load that part of the business goes? Because I think I've shared with most people here different ones. I've thought so many times over the last 8 years of profit first of partnering with a bookkeeper to do the bookkeeping for the safety of the dollars. But it's then that balance of what's the mental load that would actually take up. And for people that have been doing bookkeeping, I get it, but I think that's the interesting piece that for the PFPs that manage to do that, I think that is absolute gold. And it's that cutting of the headspace or the mental load around that. I think it's super exciting for people that actually do that. Yeah.
Even just getting rid of the deadwood clients. So we went through maybe 4 years ago and just cut out a whole load of idiot clients that drained mentally and time and were like big floodwaters of nobody wants to deal with this person anymore type of energy. And as soon as we got rid of them, we had like the team were able to show up better for their better clients. And yeah, we've been able to grow heaps more since we got rid of those. So not just scaling like offers, but also cutting out deadwood clients too.
What was the rough percentage of your client base that you did that to? Very loose, finger in the air numbers.
I think we dropped about 10% of our business clients, and it wasn't quite, yeah, maybe it was 10% of our income as well. So we did intentionally have a drop of income. And then, yeah, after that, it started to increase quicker. And then we also put prices up as well. So for our deadwood income tax return clients, we put a 25% increase on 1 year. And so that got a heap and our income was still the same.
I was literally having a chat with a client earlier. This year I sort of asked the question, you guys were having a pricing chat with a client earlier around that prices up versus dollars down, and actually your profitability ends up staying the same. Yeah, so interesting, 10% loss is sort of nearly the other way of doing it, but you can see how you can quickly get it just by doing. Yeah, that's cool. Awesome. Thanks for sharing.
I've even used the scissors on my team before, so I was like, I don't know what to do. I'm either going to burn down my business right now or else I need to shift. And I cut away most of the team, bar one person who has been with me since the very start, one of my bookkeepers, Stephen. And I rehired the whole new team. And I was like, okay, now this is my chance to instill the values that I want, simplified systems, and it worked so well. So it can definitely be used there as well. Nat, do you have anything?
I had to jump out super quick. What was the original part of that question?
What part of your current business could you cut or focus on a more profitable choice?
Yeah. Okay. So key component is current business. At the moment, I'm only doing one thing anyway. So that is what I'm focusing on right now, especially with my slight pivot into a more solid niche. So that's my focus. So I don't really have anything to cut just yet.
Hey, do you have anything?
Yeah, the cut. So the staff now have a chant. I told you the chant when I saw you guys a few weeks ago. The chant goes, "No more rescue jobs, no more rescue jobs." So yeah, pretty much they just take so much energy, and then as well, like you might have him for a couple of years, but then like I just had one that we fixed up, and he's now going to another accountant, and I mean, good luck to him, whatever. But yeah, like I mean, I've got one at the moment. It's after this, no more. It's just got to be a solid, and it's hard because like I've had one rescue job where the client is fantastic, um, but overall, the pattern that I've seen is that it sucks up a lot of energy. It's a lot of time. They don't appreciate what it's going to cost. You're probably not really making money on the job, so there's no profit margin then in the end. So what's the if then and then if they possibly then leave, they go back the bad way. So line in the sand, it's just like really no more profit, no more rescue jobs. So and then defining, I guess, what is a rescue job? So we look at it and go, well, hey, look, if you've got more than 2 years company returns outstanding and then also there's no and even if it was 2 years and there's no accounting done, like no reconciliations, nothing, you're like it's like you're starting from scratch. Like, no, like I don't think we're the right fit for you. But it's very hard to say no because the instinct is to go, oh, they want me. Yeah, great. Yeah. So I mean I've even been thinking really recently, it's like even, sole traders, like, do I really want you or not? I mean we've done the other thing we've done as well is we said, look, if you're not using zero, unless you're
Mhm.
going to change, we're not interested.
Definitely.
Yeah. But you got to do it because otherwise it's just we don't have time to waste and to also but also then as well to then fight to get the information out of them too, and that would be the next biggest bugbear I think of every I'd say bookkeepers as well, but particularly I mean also tax agents, just getting that information and which means it's inefficient way to go and get the work done because you put a job down, you go to the next job, and then you got to, when you get back into it, it's like you got to re-remember what you've done, where you're at. That takes time.
So that's a common issue for bookkeepers, accountants, coaches, getting information from clients or getting clients to provide you information. Are we not making it simple enough as an industry for clients to provide us information on time in full? Like, really?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like, could we? I mean, we've got like online collection forms where you can upload data, you put stuff in there, many ways to get it to us. But and particularly I found as well this pattern where sometimes the more wealthier the client is. Like I was joking today saying I think one of our wealthy high net wealths with the what I call our CIC, which is a client information collection form, you know, should just get his PA to fill it in. Like she or him or can go and hound them. So
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely. So that sort of leads on to my next question, Nath, which was a great lead in. Where are we feeling like we're currently spreading ourselves too thin? Because that will help us determine where we can use the scissors.
I'll start. Seeing I just kind of left off the other thing and it was a great segue. Um, for me, uh, it's probably I guess what I've got to cut is cut me doing stuff. So, I was talking with Katie last week about this, and back in April, I was at getting a replacement manager, a replacement admin person, Belinda. So Belinda could do accounting work. Catherine can give more work to her, and then I can give her responsibility, right? So I've got to cut that. So literally, I gave Belinda permission yesterday that if I do not sign the proposal that we had from 4 months ago, like, so I had to revisit it, right, with the recruitment agent. If I don't sign it, she has permission to get into me and just she can physically harm me, but just not the face.
Not the money maker.
Because I just know I'll go back to what's comfortable, which is doing nothing.
Yeah.
But it's good that, this is the thing, right? I was talking about this in the podcast earlier today. It's being able to recognize that that's happening.
Where I'm a little bit the opposite to you, Nath. I don't feel like if I'm busy all of the time, like I feel guilty having downtime because if I'm not busy all the time, then I'm not delivering or fulfilling my role to my team or
It's
to the business.
Yeah, so funny you mentioned that. So I feel that if I'm not in the office and I'm doing other things that are not in here, right? Regardless of whatever it might be, whether it's personal or something else that builds a business. Maybe like say for example, going for a lunch with a referral partner. Feel guilty, but that's because I feel guilty because not because I'm going out and doing that, it's because I've left them in a position where they are at capacity and they're doing so much that, it's like, oh, now I'm not pulling my weight. So I look at it like once everyone's doing their task, that I hope that feeling would go.
Mm, interesting insight.
Mm.
For me, it is getting the clients that I've had with me for a lot of years that are they're not in bad habits, but now when I onboard people, like they're more streamlined and they do things differently than what my old clients do. So for me, it's just educating my older clients to how we want things done now, which I've actually started doing each time I do something with them.
For me, I feel like I'm spread very thin across meetings. I leave one, I jump into another, I leave another one, I jump into another. And then by the 5 o'clock, I crash because I've expelled all my energy and just need to recharge. And that is hard. So I think I need to consolidate a bit, or maybe not have that expectation on myself to show up for everything.
Sorry, on that, I was speaking to Trent McLaren, who owns Vinyl. He had lunch with him on Friday, and he was talking about his process and what he does. And so what he's now doing is because Vinyl keeps notes, and then it's I don't know, got some sort of connection to his FYI Slack thing, whatever. Where basically he's clearly saying at the end, okay, this is what we're going to do. Let's say Craig is going to do X, Y, Z. Natalie is going to do this, and Jody's going to do that. So he's clearly saying these are the next steps, and he's saying it very clearly. This is the next step. So then it's looking at it, and then it's smart enough now with AI to then throw those tasks over to the team members, and then automatically he's going from sales call to sales call to sales call, and they just know, hey, I've seen that, I've got to do that.
Hmm. What's
Yeah.
it called?
Vinyl. I will send you a link.
Yeah, that'd be great.
ChatGPT can do it. 100 other apps can do it as well. So see what it does and then work out if what you already got can do it.
Mm.
Google can do it. Yeah, there's so many different ways to do that stuff with AI now. While I'm talking, I guess, and I need to run off soon for pickup, but yeah, struggling with the idea. I think the words aren't landing not quite right for me. Spreading too thin in as much as what I'm quite conscious now is coming to the single message because I'm working across the two businesses. What's the one thing which is, again, I've managed to go into what's the personal brand, personal part of, well, my story is financial brain care, and that filters across both businesses. So that has helped a lot with that idea. And then I guess what I'd written down here was discipline and ownership, of me owning my experience and going, I can actually do this, and using, for me, terminology, spread too thin. Yeah, I've got a ton of shit around life, and that's like more thinking personal life and all the rest of it. But I can still do a lot of stuff. I've created a lot of time to own the time to prioritize what I want to do and how I want to do it. And so I think coming back to, I guess, the cutting or the breadth of what that is, I think moving into 2026, it's like the core focus is just marketing and content across both. And it's the one message, but it's just a matter of what I do and which bucket it gets spread out across. I don't care, but how do I hone my time and prioritize it to get the most leverage? And then I won't feel spread out myself because I've got the central message and I spread the output out. So yeah, that's just what kind of come to my mind. I didn't really answer spreading myself thing, but probably coming back to Michael, it's a core thing that I need to do in business and in personal life. And then how do I amplify that? That was a good word from Prophet Con that got used a bunch with Alan and Mike, that amplification idea. Super useful word.
I think for me, I've been consciously, because I've been feeling spread thin through different businesses and house and all that sort of stuff. So that's why I've intentionally kind of combined my business with the real estate side of stuff so that it feels more aligned and more like one thing, as opposed to it feeling like my business and the real estate business. And so now it's starting to form sort of more of a banner and umbrella of it is all just real estate and this is my branch of it and this is, say, Ben's branch of it. And so just even having that alignment has felt really good. So it's just getting that in. So that's where I've not, but that's where I've kind of cut, I think. So now I'm not, spread amongst multiple businesses. It feels like one.
That's awesome, Nat.
That's super cool, Matt.
It will be when I get to start it. It's getting there.
Slow and steady wins the race.
Looking forward to school holidays for that reason.
Yeah. Thanks, Craig.
I've started chopping out the crap that I don't need to be at. At the start of the call before we started the recording, Tracy and I were meeting fortnightly on weekly meetings, fortnightly meetings, in a tiny little mentor group, and it sort of it ended up being just showing up and having a chat with Tracy because nobody else in the group would show up. And so I'm like, you know what? I don't need this in my life anymore. Jumping on the call and waiting to see if anybody would show up. So bye-bye. And even some of the team meetings as well, I've dropped the guilt of not going to all of them because they can handle it. And when I'm available, I'll show up. And when I'm not available, it's okay. I've got other things to do. So yeah, definitely that permission to not show up to things that other people have got is fine. But the other thing I've got to work on is my identity. So who am I? Because I've been Jodie from Northwest Accountancy for so long, but I want to add new things, but also take away those things. So like this morning, the boundary was, oh, Jodie, I haven't heard from this person who was doing my tax return. Can you just finish it off for me? I'm like, no. But I really want you as the second email. And so I'm like, no. So it's that of, well, I'm sorry, I can't. So yeah, it's holding those boundaries that I set for myself as well.
Jodie, have you ever thought about you as your own brand? So I guess it's kind of like where you're going, where you're leading, yeah? Mm.
Yep. Yep. So I'm stepping into chief educator now.
Mm.
Yeah. So that means I've got to leave the tax agent behind and leave all the other bits away, the one-on-ones, like they're great conversations, but they're not that educator role. So yeah, it's snipping away all the bits where I used to help people in all the other ways.
You'll be pleased to know that it's working already. She only stepped into that role officially today. And since I've been on this meeting, I've had 3 NWA members ring me on Slack. Decline, decline. At least give me a fucking hour to settle in, people.
Great.
But it's interesting, like, I mean, saying, and I think I've had the same problem as you, like, starting the business from scratch, there was a lot of things, a lot of tax returns that I did. And Helena has been, no, Nathan doesn't do that. No, there's good t staff members who can do it. And we've the lower and the lower individual tax returns, they've gone. No,
Yep.
no, no, he doesn't do it. It's a proposal. Okay, it's fine. But and Helena's just like, so it's just a no, it's just a straight no. Even when I come in, I go, oh, I'll see him. She goes, no, you will not see them. Okay,
Yep.
right. Which is great because you need those strong people in your life to remind you that that role is not serving your business best.
We are often really bad at setting our own boundaries, but if someone else is enforcing the boundaries that we want, it's a lot easier to stick to them.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, so implementation and next steps for the next quarter. Did anyone else have anything to add on to that last question? No.
Nope.
What's one thing in our businesses that we can use the scissors on for the next quarter? And how can we measure that it worked?
So next end of this quarter, start of next quarter, I'm still working on Go High Level and my website turnover and all of that type of stuff. So that's what I'm keeping in mind when I'm doing that. In regards to the measuring, I'm not sure, Vanessa. Maybe if I get more people come through on my Google Analytics or whatever, that's obviously a measurement.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be great measurement.
Yeah.
I mean, like for me, going back to kind of what I was cutting, cutting me, if I go back and think about when we implemented Ignition, I had just hired Belinda and it was a project for her to do. I'm very good at discovering things, but I'm not very good at finishing seeing things through because it's not something I should be doing. And the goal is for me is to find the right person to replace Belinda. And I've been keeping a list of, I've started writing down things that we need to get implemented. And, one of them is a few different AI products to create efficiency. And I just do not have time. And I don't, sorry, I should stop using that word time. It's not something that I should be doing. And someone else that can, they know it's 100% focused. They have to do it. It's their baby. It's their thing. And if I go back to Belinda when she implemented Ignition, before she came on board, we tried doing it. When I say we, it was me and Pierce who used to work with me, a few years back. I gave it a go, and because we didn't implement it 100% properly with its full function, it didn't work. And I was like, it's rubbish. And there was enough pain to go, oh, let's revisit it and go again. But this not next time around, I went, hey, Belinda, you're doing it all. And I think if I look back and reflect and look at that experience and go, well, why do I keep going back to this thing of, oh, I'll do it? It's like, no, it's got to give it to someone else who it's their responsibility, their job, and come back to, well, what's my role? And I think when I say cutting me, it's cutting me from things that I just shouldn't be doing.
For me, it's probably going to be streamlining my meetings and focusing on making our HR process super simple. So it's not spread across 5 different places in OneDrive. It's all in one area that's easy to follow so that the next stages in the following quarter are a smooth transition.
I'm not up to it yet, but next quarter, I'd love to get the scissors on our offers. Just cut out some of the crap. But also take on Craig's advice and go, well, what can we bundle as groups stuff and build communities where people can add multiple communities for a great price. I like, yeah, that
I
would
love that.
be,
Yeah.
I like that. So it might be scissors and a hairbrush.
Getting the full makeover. It's not just getting a trim, it's getting a blow dry.
I don't really know because I'm not cutting. So I guess mine is more time related and boundary related. So that will be implementing it in such a way that both parts not priority but get attention. So I don't know how I'm going to measure that. How my brain feels. But it will also be across school holidays as well. So that will be it's hard to implement things in the next couple of months because that's not the normal. So yeah, time's sort of broken into two different chunks, which is either school holidays or non-school holidays. So it's finding how that dynamic's going to work.
Mm. Awesome. To do what you guys have just said that you're going to do in the next quarter, is there any systems behind the scenes that need to be strengthened in order for you to do that? And if so, can someone else do that strengthening for you instead of you?
I think I'll be working with Carrie because she does the sales side of things. But I come up with the offers. So working with her to see what will work and what won't work.
I think my answer's a no, Vanessa. I think it's currently pretty much all down to me, which is a couple of reasons. So I want to know the back end of Go High Level and that type of stuff as well. So yeah, but it's essentially just down to me.
For me, to make it happen is I've to get find new staff member. Well, there's the recruitment agency, but then also Belinda's leading that project.
For me, it is yes. I try to delegate wherever I can, but it's not just so that I don't have to do the shit. It's so other people learn how to do something new as well. So for me, it's a form of educating others. And the main thing would be to do what I'm always told, which is stay in my lane and stay out of my own diary. Because, like, for example, tomorrow night I've booked myself an in-person tax return for 2 years worth of back tax. And I'm like, why am I doing this? I don't know why, but now I am and I'm dreading it, but that's okay. So
How
just
how
things like that. I need to be
how
blocked from my own calendar.
how'd the job even come to you?
Phone call. He found me off my old business website. He goes, "Is this Mornington Peninsula Tax Services?" I was like, "It was." "Oh, you don't do tax returns anymore?" "I do, just not in that business." In a different one that's fully remote now. "Oh, okay, I live just around the corner and I was really hoping just to come and see you because it's a little bit complex." And I was like, "All right." I know. Yes.
Goes back to like this whole conversation, which has essentially been around boundaries.
Yeah, it really has.
See,
And
we've
you
got
can't
now.
enforce them yourself, you're right. Get somebody else to enforce them for you.
Yeah.
We've now got so many, I guess, processes and all that, but even I don't even know how to set a client up now. So even if I wanted to, yeah, I can't. Like the best I can give you is give me your email address and then I can pass it on to the admin team and they'll take the next steps.
I'm a
And
bit like you, Nath. He texted me all of his details and I screenshotted it and messaged it to Georgina. I'm like, this is a tax return client that I've booked in for Wednesday. Please do your thing.
oh my goodness. I love it nonetheless. It's hard to break bad habits sometimes, or break things that just become so natural to you. And it's like you look at it, it's just two returns. Like, oh, just come in. I got an hour free. Why not?
Then that 1 hour free turns into 4 hours because really you didn't know that he had 12 outstanding basses and was registered for GST. And he doesn't have a zero file or anything really. So then he comes with a pile of bank statements that are this thick with
Maybe you
highlighter.
guys need a chant.
Vanessa, stay in your lane. Vanessa, stay in your lane.
Well,
Yeah,
there you go.
perfect.
I think you better share that with the team.
Well, that's all I had for today's little brainstorm around scaling with scissors and where we can best utilize them in all areas of business and in life. Does anyone have anything they want to add, or Tracy, any news from head office?
I don't have any news from head office at all. This is probably more for Nat than anybody else, but it's always a good reminder. What you were saying before brought to mind again for me as well. My game, my rules.
Thanks.
Sometimes it's hard figuring out what your rules are.
That comes back to that identity and who am I and what should I be doing piece.
Yeah, yeah. And so that my game, my rules, Jody, that's something I've been working on for since ProfitCon that was in Geelong.
Yeah.
So yeah.
What if everyone's not playing your game?
then they don't play. See you later.
Yeah, I mean, I've come to this realization myself just recently that it's about the drive. And you know, everyone says, "Oh, what's your why in business?" And it didn't really mean much to me. I mean, initially when I started my business, my whole drive was about proving previous workplace and people who I've met along the way who said I couldn't do it, and kind of like a bit of the no sayers, like the naysayers, sorry. And for me, I got to a point where it plateaued because I achieved a lot of things already. And it's like unconsciously I've gone almost like fuck you, I've done it, right? But then the problem with that is you're always going to just be you're never really going you have a little bit of growth, but never really achieving all that much. So for me, it's been about really understanding, well, what's that new drive? What is it that I want out of this? Why do I turn up? You know, and but also it's like, what do I resemble? Like what am I bringing for the team? What am I bringing for the clients? And then, it's just been like, you know what, fuck it. This is what I need to do. And there's a whole lot of reasons of, feelings that not feeling great and not being happy about it all. And then what I want as well. So then go, I'm gonna fix it.
I loved the analogy that you used like this, Nate.
Yeah.
Um, when I had a session with my spiritual healer, she goes, "Oh, how do you feel like, everything's going?" And we're having a chat. And I said, "I feel like everything's smooth. Like we don't have very many issues." And she goes, "So you've got a flatline business. Flatline business means dead. Business should be like a heartbeat. Same with any relationship. If your relationship is flatline and you don't have disagreements and high moments and low moments, your relationship is dead. It should be like a heartbeat. There should be up and down, and then a few ups, and then maybe a down, and then a few squiggly bits." So then I was like, okay, I need to get out of my comfort zone to have those pieces of a heart again instead of feeling dead,
Mm.
flatlined.
Yeah. The ultimate goal where I want to get to is if I die tomorrow, that the business can be sold for a lot of money.
I'll buy you YouTube.
For my followers.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, because any of us could be in that position. And right, I mean, look, sure, they get a bit of coin. I mean, my life insurance policy is worth a lot of money too. But like to be able to go, like, they're just not selling, I don't want to sell like a turd that's been polished up. I want to sell like the gold nugget. that someone's going to come in, they're going to pay top price for it. They can just basically come in, in 3 years, maybe pay it off, and then after that, they're making awesome profits themselves.
Yeah.
There you go.
Brilliant. Well, thank you, Vanessa. That was an awesome session.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Vanessa. That was great.
Thanks, everyone. Love the
Thanks,
chat.
guys.
Thank you. All right.
Bye.